All right, we are live. Hey guys, Ted Bogert with the Ted Show. I'm excited to have these two gentlemen on here, Mikey Gomez, Jay Awal. Welcome to the Ted Show, guys. Good morning or
Good
afternoon.
morning. Good morning. Happy Cinco.
Happy Cinco. I've got the Day of the Dead jacket on. Couldn't find the tie that goes with it, so we're just going with the regular fun T-shirt. I'm already imbibing, so that I'm celebrating Cinco de Mayo, or whatever that means. All right, so you guys have you had a lot to talk about, Mikey, when you filled it out, and so, but I picked digital entrepreneurship because I think digital anything is on everyone's mind, especially since we've all gone through this crazy pandemic and starting to reopen. But before we take a deep dive, will you guys tell them a little bit about each of you, maybe your background and how you got here? So I'll start with you, Mikey.
All right. So my name is Mikey Gomez, as you can see right there on the bottom of the screen. So I'm a digital entrepreneur now. I am a former MMA professional fighter. I fought for 13 years. I won a world championship from the biggest organization out in Europe. It's called Cage Warriors. I was the welterweight champion there. That is the longest and biggest organization out in Europe. I'm one of the only athletes that had that belt that did not go to the UFC. That is, for instance, everybody that's been a champion of that organization actually won the UFC title, from Michael Bisping to Conor McGregor to Gegard Mousasi and Bellator, just a bunch of athletes, right? However, I guess that wasn't my route to pursue. So during that time, I made a little bit of money, right? I was the first athlete sponsored by Harley Davidson and Bud Light, and I made some money, right? And sponsorships at the time, I'm generation 2 of this sport, if you think about it. And we were actually making more money through sponsors other than the actual fighting. Then on my way out, as you know, I'm losing all my hair. 2016, the organization, the MMA world as a whole was just moving in another direction. So on my way out, I was coming out of the sport when the big money was starting to come in. And I actually lived in California for 10 years. And I just got back to Orlando, Florida about 10 months ago because of tax purposes. It's just, I'm looking to become wealthy, right? And how am I going to become wealthy out there if I'm left with 38 cents to the dollar after paying taxes? And then I see all my wealthy friends moving out of there. I'm like, what am I doing here? But to make that long story short real quick, I actually went completely broke in 2015. And it wasn't because of the lack of money. It was the lack of financial literacy. And, I'm living in the Hollywood Hills. I was living with a friend at his house, 4-story home, elevator. Looking from the outside in, it seemed like everything was great. But actually, everything was falling apart. So I lived in my car in Santa Monica for about 3 months.
Wow.
And I would cry myself to sleep literally every night, sleeping next to the gym. People didn't know what I was going through except for my coach. And, I would just keep training and shower there and whatnot. And that's how I got involved in financial services. And I learned that it's not rocket science. So I was like, the fighter that I am, everybody needs to learn this stuff. And I went all in on sharing entrepreneurship and financial literacy.
Fantastic. See, I didn't know the MMA background. I just knew that you had it somewhere there. That's really cool. All right. How about you, Jay?
Yeah, so I'm not a professional MMA fighter, actually. So I'm not as cool. I'm not as cool as Mikey, but I've been an entrepreneur now for the past 3 years, and I started off going to actually University of Central Florida. I went there for biomedical sciences. My parents really wanted me to become a doctor, so I went all in and went to school for about 3 years. I went up until I have 24 credits left and to finish my bachelor's degree. And it was at that moment in junior year of college, I actually started my first company. I was AE Media Marketing. It was a content creation company, so we did like websites and videography, et cetera, et cetera. And throughout college, I actually worked at Houston, or if you're familiar with Hillstone. So I was a lead server and a bartender there, and man, just the amount of wealthy people that would come into that restaurant.
You were a lead server and a bartender there? That is one of my favorite places on the planet.
Yeah, so I worked at Houston for Hillstone and Winter Park, and I met so many amazing people and so many influential people in Orlando. And I remember actually this one day where this was the very first start of entrepreneurship before I even created the content company. There was a plane. I came into work at 4:30 for the dinner shift, and there was a plane sitting on the lake. Since it's a lakefront restaurant, there was a plane sitting there, and I took over a table for one of my fellow servers. There's two gentlemen sitting there, and I was like, hey, joking around, the personality that I have, right? I was like, hey, man, luckily for you guys, I flew my plane into work today, and with a good tip, I'll give you a ride on the plane. He's like, really? Because that's my plane. I was like, no crap. I was like, well, what do you do? Because whatever it is that you do where you can fly a plane to dinner, that's what I need to do in my life. And he's like, I'm an entrepreneur. I own multiple different companies. And the gentleman's name is actually William Kitchen. He owned and created iFly Orlando and sold it for millions of dollars. And, he kind of hired me. He hired me to do his website. And that's when I really got like my first break in entrepreneurship. And like most entrepreneurs, I quit cold turkey. I mean, I was making so much less per month in entrepreneurship than I was the restaurant, but I was so excited that I was an entrepreneur that I just quit. So I found myself in a financial bind where I'm an entrepreneur, but I'm broke entrepreneur. And I, started connecting the dots. I met some guys down in Miami and they introduced me to a financial education platform. And since then, I mean, it's been a movie. We've traveled to over 26 countries, spoken on stages in front of thousands of people about financial literacy and entrepreneurship, and now leading a movement called MXM, Millennials to Moguls, where our goal is to impact everywhere from millennials to people that are already a mogul or an expert in their field and kind of combine their minds together to impact the world through education.
Fascinating. See, I didn't know when Mikey and I started talking, I do very little research. So I just know that Mikey had an interesting platform and a little bit of a cool background. So anybody who he would bring on and anything that you guys would talk about would be very timely and very interesting. So thank you for sharing that. I love Houston's. They just reopened. So you must be a little from the older school if you still call it Houston's like I do. All right, so let's talk about you guys coming together. So Mikey, how did you all form your relationship, your partnership?
Okay, so when I mentioned I got involved with financial services, that was actually when I was completely broke, right, in Santa Monica. And the fighter that I am, I couldn't go back home and be like, hey, Mom, I left home at this level and I messed up. And I just couldn't, right? I come from a single mother. So I was starting to search. And when you're looking, you find what you're looking for. That's how I got involved with a life insurance company. And they actually had it was a distribution company of financial services. Now, it was going well. I was engaged in the process. Then we were building the business under my ex-fiance's license. I got in a little bit of trouble in San Diego. I was hammered drunk one time. Actually, I never shared the story, but I was hammered drunk with my Navy SEAL friends. I've gotten back from overseas. And, they all came back alive. So we're drinking, we're boozing. It's after hours. We're at one of the guys' apartment. Everybody hammered. They locked the door. So I just started wandering around Pacific Beach in San Diego. Then I got into an altercation with a dude. Thank God I never touched him. He actually let his pit bull attack me, right? And didn't catch me either. But it became this whole ordeal right around 4 a.m. And I went into the drunk tank. So, and I got charged with a felony, which is insane, right? So everything got expunged. But because of that incident, they told me that I had to wait 5 years to get my license. So I was going to get married, right? So I'm building my business, right? Our future with my ex now, fiance. And then when we broke up, obviously I wasn't able to profit from any of that. As a good old entrepreneur, right? I aimed for the stars. I fell back on my face. And that process of searching, I met Jason Awal. He actually wrestled in high school. So we saw eye to eye on a lot of things, right? And I saw how amazing was the movement that he created. I did a little bit of my research. We met, we clicked, and I never looked back from 9 months ago.
Fantastic. All right, Jason, Jay, I have to ask you. There's a lot of people who hear the word financial literacy. I'm going to get to you, Jay. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
When you're the one-man show, I'm like the wizard behind the curtain here. But I think a lot of people have heard the buzzword financial literacy, financial education. But for a lot of people, they immediately go to budgeting. They go to things that they don't want to talk about, their own mortality on the life insurance side. So talk about how you created something different, and then give them an idea of what that education, that literacy should look like.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's one of those things we're raised with. I'm still, and I'm young, but I come from the 1900s, right? The later part of the 1900s, to where you were trained as a young adult, as a grown up adolescent. You don't bring up money, right? You never ask somebody how much money they make. You never really just bring up that topic. It was almost like asking a woman their age, right? And for me, it was always a peculiar topic. Like, why wouldn't you ask that? You know, why wouldn't, when I asked my parents how much they make, why wouldn't they really tell me? They would just tell me, hey, we have everything we need. That's it. So growing up, money was just something that I earned by exchanging my time, and something that I paid for things. I mean, I knew only how to deposit and cash checks. That's it. And for me, once I got to college and I started, and especially Hillstone, working at Houston's, and I saw people that were wealthy, and it seemed like, Ted, like the same people were coming in every day for lunch and dinner, but yet they're having a Rolls Royce outside. So it just didn't make sense. I'm like, if they're here all the time, how are they earning money? So financial literacy isn't so much, I think, of a balance sheet and the boring stuff that most people associate it with, but more so understanding how money works. You can have money work for you as opposed to you working for it. And when I read this book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I'm sure you've heard of it before, you know, in the first chapter, it's lesson number 1, the rich don't work for money. The poor and middle class work for money. The rich have money work for them. And that just blew my mind. I mean, the whole family works for money. So that's when I really started diving into understanding how money works and how it is that I can have it as a seed and plant it and water and have it grow, looking forward to the day where my passive income just exceeded my expenses, so that way I can do what I want, where I want, with who I want. And thankfully, 3 years later, it's at that point where I completely work from home, and you know, if there's a Wi-Fi connection, I can get my job done, and I love what it is that I do. So financial literacy isn't the boring stuff, but more so the necessity. I think a lot of people, especially during this pandemic, really started wondering how they can figure out for themselves.
It's true. I feel like it is. There were so many people furloughed, so many businesses shut down or at least shut off. So I think as we're starting to come out of it, this is such an important topic because people don't know what to do now. If they had money, they held on to it as tight as possible because they didn't know when the economy would, quote unquote, reopen. So tell me, Mikey, tell me if somebody has a specific, they're like, all right, I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to be literate. I'm ready to understand at least some of the first things I need to do. What do you tell somebody who comes to you like that? What's the program about?
Well, we partnered up obviously with the largest financial platform in the world, which is teaching people how money, how actually everything is switching from physical to digital, right? So I'm just actually a knowledge broker, and I became a knowledge broker in the process. In a program with Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi. I'm sure you're aware of who Dean Graziosi is, being in real estate yourself. And I became a knowledge broker because we know that colleges have failed us. And I'm not saying that education is not important. However, let me use as an example, if somebody, right, if you're going to be a lawyer, if you're going to be a doctor and all that, obviously you need to learn that. But to go ahead and make money, let's say if somebody wants to be an interior designer, I would tell that person to just actually go ahead and not go to college. And if anything, go find the most successful person in that field, and go ask them, I'm going to go work for you for free for a whole year. But the catch is that you will let me ask you questions and you will let me mirror you the entire time. And I will be the best employee you've ever had. And after that, you know, after a whole year of being with a person that has the results that they want, they could go ahead and open their own business instead of going to college and learning interior design from somebody that actually has never ran a business like that. So what I would say is find somebody that has the results that they want, right? And then you start from there. So we have the largest financial platform in the world, educational financial platform in the world, and where we're actually impacting people in over 50 different countries and 9 different languages of what we offer. So it all depends on what the person wants as a goal, right? And has as a goal, because not everybody has the same goals. There is no one size fits all, as you know, Ted, right? Maybe somebody wants to invest in real estate, but they don't have the money. So there's just an error, right? A large different ways of multiplying their money, right? So
let me ask you, Jay, if somebody goes to the site, like you've got a newbie that watches the show and they go to millennials2moguls.com, what are they going to see? What are they looking for? They say, you know what, I like this show. I like these guys. I want to be more financially literate. I want to know what this whole buzzword is about financial literacy and education. What are they going to see? What can they expect to gain from going to the site and getting involved on your platform?
Well, let's be real. There's a lot of Instagram gurus and YouTube, everything nowadays. So one thing that, I'm originally from New York, so BS level high, right? Or I quickly, and by BS, I don't mean BS, I mean belief system, right?
Exactly.
So my belief system was broken in terms of I didn't believe people. So the one thing that I lead with when entrepreneurship is authenticity. I'm not a multimillionaire yet. I'm talking about financial literacy because it's something that I study and I'm fascinated by it. So I'm reciprocating that back in the world. And I really believe in the laws of giving and then receiving, not receiving and then giving. So for me, what they're going to see is an authentic platform. We're authentic people. I'm not a multimillionaire yet. Yes, I've been able to 6 figures online. Yeah, I've been able to travel to 26 countries, but I still have a long way to go. And when someone comes to their site, they're going to see our mission, what our goal is. And traveling to Congo in Africa, the second poorest country in the world, I saw students, a part of this platform, that are making $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 a month, where the average person is making $50 US a month. So what they're going to see is access to information. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world. It doesn't matter if you have, you just got out of the Penn State or you just got out the state pen, right? It doesn't matter where you come from. If you have access to information and you have an actionable plan that can help you get to where it is that you want to go, then you have what's called your new vehicle. And that's what we provide for people. We provide for a vehicle. We already have a game plan step by step. So if you want to come into this, Ted, make an extra $1,000 a month on top of what it is that you're doing, we can show you how to do that. And it's the same way the banks are making money. I mean, we're talking financial markets. We're talking, things they don't teach about in high school, college, and we're educating people on how money works so they can have money work for them.
Do you find that when you travel, since you guys have traveled all over, is the need or the want or the desire, maybe on the education level or what level they're at in their financial literacy, is it different around the world?
You know what? I thought it was going to be that way, but no. There is no major difference. What I realized is that people everyone has an idea of money. They work for it, right? They want more of it. We're natural creatures of increase. We want more of everything that we have, right? You go to Hillstone, you want more spinach dip. It's
yes,
that good.
I do.
So, yeah, right. It's the same thing with money. So what I realize is that we're talking keywords that people are exchanging their life energy. They're exchanging their best hours of their day, the best days of their year, the best years of their life for money. And if I can show people win some of that time back, that's all they're interested in. So the keywords are time freedom, financial freedom, multiple sources of income. And that's attractive to someone that has $1 million in the bank and someone that has $2 in the bank. Now the only difference is where they can start from. 2% of a dollar looks a lot different than 2% of a million. So regardless, we're still helping them grow. So I thought when I went to, Congo and Africa, was by far one of my favorite places that I visited. The food, the people, this culture was very rich. But I really thought that it was going to be like, Lion King. I thought it was going to be villages and stuff. And it was full on cities with electricity. And, it was kind of an eye opener for me. Like, wow, these people have the internet. And because they have the internet, they have access to information. And we're living through an unprecedented time in human history where 100 years ago, you couldn't reach in your pocket and Google anything and get the answer to it. So what we're going to see in how people make money is completely different than how your parents were raised or even my parents are raised. And people are starting to wake up as the world starts getting more and more access and to the internet and thus access to information. The good book says, right, knowledge is power. The lack of knowledge is the lack of power. And that's what we're bringing. We're bringing power back to the people.
Agreed. I love that anytime that you can get educated on anything financial, because I think we just did a mastermind right before this show that all had to do with real estate investment and trying to understand what it is to educate yourself in order for you to make the best decision, which is sort of what an educational platform is. You're you're offering up a lot of information to them, I imagine, and there's a way for them to maneuver through it. And when you got involved, Mikey, was there anything that surprised you about how you were doing finances before you got involved, that you changed immediately, or maybe changed the way that you did things?
Absolutely. So, one of the products that we would help people with was cash value life insurance, which a lot of people aren't aware of, right? And with cash value life insurance, you can actually get their up to 12-15% rate of return on your money, which is amazing, right? That means if you get a 12%, and I say 12% because everybody should be getting at least 12%, because according to American funds, that's what the market has been doing average for the past 85 years. So yet people are getting 0.35% in return from the bank. That means your one will turn into two in about 400 years or more, right? So if you're getting 12%, you're doubling your money every 6 years. And this is actually, these are all legal loopholes that exist, and it's actually tax never money, right? So I learned that, right? I have my money, right, going in there because I'm becoming wealthy now. I will never go broke again because now I know what's going on with money, right? So I have my investments there, and then I partner up with Jay, and I saw that these people are averaging, because of we're doing literally what the banks are doing with our money. So we're averaging 5% a day, which is just insane, right? And obviously the banks, if they're making money like that, they're not making all those millions off of the overdraft late fees. Let's be real. So if I can get 5% a day, let's say on the lowest end, I get 10% in a month. I'm already beating what the bank is giving me in return, right? But just sitting there. And
so what do you guys think of? I had a whole bunch of people actually ask, and I'm gonna summarize it my way. Is there an opportunity for people to get involved, to have their own side hustle that could turn into a full-time career, which is what you guys are working on? I mean, I'm getting I guess they did more research than I did. So I'm getting the sense that perhaps there's an opportunity for them to have another career so can you talk about that a little bit, Jay, or am I way off?
No, you're 100% right. Actually, so I was inspired as a server working at Hillstone. I felt really poor. And, I made decent money. I don't know, server, bartender there, they make decent money. I mean, I was going to college at the time, and, I made my first $45,000 in a year, and I went right over to Fields BMW and I bought myself a brand new 328i with the red leather interior. I mean, I felt a lot richer than I was, but my car was worth more than I had in my bank account. So I was financially illiterate. But actually, I got started in this platform because I met those two gentlemen down in Miami that kind of showed me the ropes on financial education. And my first goal, Ted, was just to cover my car note. I mean, I got into a $500 car payment at 21 years old, by far the dumbest decision that I made so far financially. And I just wanted to figure out how I could cover that. So it started off $500. And once I made that per month in passive income and investment income, I was like, okay, now let's tackle the insurance. Let me make an extra $250. Then it got to $750. Then it got to $1,000. Then it got to $2,000. Then it got to $5,000. Then it got to $7,500 of passive income a month. And then I was like, wow, 6 figures is the new minimum wage. Like, I will turn my yearly salary into my monthly income. So absolutely. I mean, this is not a get rich quick scheme. Let's be real. People think that, how fast? People ask the wrong questions. Have you ever been in the car with someone, Ted, and they're asking how long until we get there?
Yes.
And those are, you can have the right vision with the wrong people. However, when you're with your best friend, you're missing the highway exit because you're engaged in such a conversation. It's more about the journey than it is the destination. So when people come to me and ask me, well, Jay, how long till I'm a millionaire, or how long till I'm financially free? You're asking the wrong questions. You should be, what is the journey? And, how long until, I'm getting to 2% a day, as opposed to, the other questions. So absolutely, to answer your question, definitely, I think it starts off as part-time for everyone. You give this an hour a day, and naturally you start prioritizing what's most important to you. And as you can increase your income, as you increase your knowledge and your influence on others by serving others this information, I think that's when you start dedicating more time to it. And not only has this turned into a full-time income, but now this is what I'm using to invest in other businesses. I'm taking money from here and I'm buying cryptocurrency. I mean, if I told you that I'm residually or passively, if you're a real estate investor, whether you're flipping houses or you're renting out houses, let's just say the average house in, Central Florida is $200,000, and you have a mortgage on that of say $1,000, and you're renting it out for $1,500. That's $5 a month in passive income, right?
Right.
So for $200,000, you're earning $500 a month. We're showing people how for less than $500, they can make the equivalent of them owning $2 million in real estate in passive income. And we're doing that in a 36, 90-day game plan. So it's really amazing to see people from all walks of life be able to kind of learn this and do it, because before people said, I don't got money, I can't make money. They hear invest and they cower away from it because they don't even have any money to lose. So we're showing people how with a low barrier of entry with a high upside potential, how to get involved into entrepreneurship and investing, and then go and partner up with you, buy houses and real estate and flip and rent and do whatever they want. But for the person that doesn't have 200,000 or 20 grand liquid to put down in a house, that's when they come to me. Or even if they do, they come to me and they say, hey, I want to grow up a nest egg and, be able to multiply my investments from there.
So leaving it at that, because I think there's a lot of people that want to know how the best way to reach you guys, if they are interested, if they want to learn more, who should they reach out to, or can they reach out to both of you? What's the best way to contact you guys?
Yeah, so reach out to whoever it is. I mean, that you'd like to. It doesn't matter. I mean, Mikey's a good friend of mine and business partner. So either one. Like I said, we're both on the same page, and
we work together. So either or, it's in the same place. It's all about we all went together. So it doesn't matter who they reach out to. We're business partners, and if we're able to impact, either through Jay or myself, somebody's life, then as a company as a whole, we're winning anyway. Because we truly believe in that, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
All right, so go to the website or
Instagram or the website. So on the website, they'll actually be able to jump on a strategy session. The first thing we do is we're not taking the time out of our day and coaching individuals that don't have what it is that we're looking for. And let's be real. I mean, we're not one of these people that make all of our money on a upfront, sell an educational platform, and we're not actually doing it. Unlike most online educational platforms, the majority of our money is not made people enroll into our educational platform. It's actually made as we help them make money. So my goal is to get you into Profit's Head. And by doing so, you're helping us grow our business and so on and so forth. So by jumping on that website or hitting up Mikey or myself, we're actually going to jump on a strategy session. We're going to get to know them, their goals, and see if what we do is for them or if they're for us. And then we invest our time and we walk them through our step-by-step game plan. We customize it and then we execute it together.
Fantastic. All right, Mikey Gomez.
I'm sorry. I think Instagram would be a good place as well, where they can reach us out. I don't know if we can share it with somebody in there.
Yeah, once you're done with the show, if you guys want to direct them to your Instagram, to your website, when you share the show, that would be the best way for people to get it. They'll be able to actually see it and go to it. All right, so Jay Awal, Mikey Gomez, see how fast it goes? That was awesome. Thank you so much. I'm fascinated. I'm going to check out the site. You guys should check it out too. It's streaming across the bottom. Jay Awal, Mikey Gomez. Obviously, they're partners in crime in a good way, and they work together. But I love the history. I love the story, and I think a lot of people are hungry for doing something different. They experienced this whole pandemic, and then anything that we can offer them on the small business side where they can become more financially literate, that's a plus. So thank you guys for being on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
You were awesome. I learned a lot, believe it or not. All right, so share the show and put whatever tags you want in there for the Instagram page.
Absolutely.
All right, we're out. Thank you, Mikey. Thank you, Jay. Y'all have a good one.
You as well.